The Republic of South Korea has faced many difficulties keeping up with the generation we are in now, and has finalized their solution. The tank that will be replacing the older models and being the next generation for South Korea is the K2 Black Panther. First of all, we need to find out why the change is happening. Secondly, we need to connect the reasons and doctrine behind the tank. Lastly, we should find and go over what the K2 is and how it translates to today's battlefield. To start off, we need to go back to the 1950s. To give context to the doctrine, it makes sense to understand why it is that way. In South Korea's creation in the 1950s, it was survival, not practicality. South Korea was armed with whatever they had, including M4 Shermans, M26 Pershings, and M24 Chafees, just to name a few. South Korea had no domestic capability to create their own designs. Their economy was shattered, and they were only left with what they could scavenge to fight the threat of communism. Their doctrine was infantry-based, and only used defensively. More of a copy of American Cold War doctrine. Tanks were only just mobile fire support for them, nothing more. After North Korea came at first, South Korea was in a state of fear. Realizing the enemy they were fighting is mechanized and far more advanced, it had seemed there is no hope left for them. Until after the war, South Korea was desperately trying to defend itself and rebuild its military. After the fact, they had begun realizing that their threats and adversaries are all mechanized and armored. In fact, most rely off the fact that they're armored. In the 1960s and 1970s, they had started towards a new monumental shift in their military. They had begun fielding M48 Patton III tanks and restoring order in their military. They had realized what modern warfare is going to be like, and had quickly armed themselves and prepared for another possible strike from the north in the future. And so, they finalized their doctrine. They had finally quickly went to domesticating their tanks and military programs to stop relying on allies. They had begun focusing on anti-armor as well. They used terrain to counter any numerical inferiority. Years later, it stayed the same. They prepared to fight a potential war with the United States to support them. And so they created the K-1, a tank built from South Korea defense. Many of the K2 characteristics were stemming from the K1. And this brings us to the K2. The K2 is built upon the doctrine of South Korean defense and the ability to counter numbers in the Korean terrain. It was not necessary but inevitable that the K2 would have to be designed. They desperately needed a new tank to fit the needs of a modern armored conflict. And so they started designing the K2 in 1995. The XK2 program had started in 2003. Officially, with the K1/K1A1 holes being used as testbeds to experiment with different systems, utilizing the upcoming K2. They tested new fire control systems, new domestically produced 120mm smoothbore cannons, and autoloaders. In 2007, the XK2 was shown to the public with great reaction. In 2010 to 2013, it went through several trials and experiments, which then resulted in the K2 being finalized. During testing, they found that the domestically produced engine worked fine. The transmission, however, did not. This is one of many difficulties faced in the making of the K2. Now in 2014, the K2 is officially put in service. The K2 had several features, including the following: 120mm smoothbore cannon, composite armor, autoloader, coaxial machine gun 7.62mm and 12.7mm aka 50 cal, advanced fire control systems, CITV for commander's independent viewer, thermal imaging, and a laser rangefinder. It featured new systems that helped with the battlefield coordination as well. Had a new IFF. The IFS is a system used to prevent blue-on-blue accidents, also known as friendly fire. And a BMS, a battlefield management system. It would share movement between units and friendlies. And as well as that, they had a soft kill active protection system to jam guided missiles. Additionally, the ammo it could carry could fire Korean and NATO ammunition. First, it features the K276 armor-piercing sabot, and the K277 high-explosive anti-tank round. This could be used against aircraft, light armored targets, and of course, tanks. Overall, all this fits in today's battlefield and its service South Korean needs for defense. It provided beneficial needs to the South Korean army even with its history, and it largely replaced the previous design. This is City in Power. I am out.